Your eyes very rewarding. So anyway, hello, welcome. Thank you for being here. So just to make sure you are at the right place, raise your hands up. How many of you are here to learn what behavioral science is? Okay, cool. How many of you are here to learn how behavioral science is applied in the real world? Okay, cool. Okay lah, you're in the right place. Okay, thank God. My name is Yim. I've got more than 10 years of experience in policy making, particularly in monetary policy, labor market, and also global economy. But my involvement in behavioral science started 2 years ago when I did my master's in this field, graduated last year from the UK. And I found out that this is a very, very interesting field that we can apply no matter which field you're in, actually. I did my master's research in financial education, specifically focusing on scams, phone scams. And given that J Advisory is involved in financial education, I'll be sharing some of the findings with you today. Yes, so that's a little bit about me. So we'll be covering 4 things today. We'll cover some theories first. So what is behavioral science? What are some of the theories? I'll minimize the jargons as much as I can. Wherever I introduce new jargons, I will make sure I define them in as simplest way as I can. And then we'll go into some practical stuff. So how is behavioral science applied? What are some of the interesting studies? Not just Western-based studies, but Malaysian-based studies, more importantly. So that's where I'll be sharing my dissertation findings. And also, there's one interesting research done by PIDM. You heard of PIDM, right? Yes. So they did one research in collaboration with UK's Behavioural Insight team to really find out what is Malaysians' savings and insurance behaviour. Yeah. So I'll be sharing a bit on that at the third part. The fourth one is a bit on framework, because ultimately you learn already, you want to take back something that hopefully you can apply. Yeah. So I'll be sharing a few frameworks on what makes an effective intervention. If you want to do research, what is a process that you can easily follow to do that? Right, so these are the 4 areas. And as I mentioned just now, this is casual. Make it as two-way as possible. And so stop me anytime if you have questions, if you have comments, because it's just the 4 of us, right? So let's make it as interactive and casual as possible. Sure. Yeah. All right, so a bit of icebreaker. It's mandatory, even though I know you all know each other very well already. So let's reflect on these 2 questions, just for fun. Number 1, if you're given a choice to have a superpower, what would it be and why? And number 2, what is that one thing you want to learn from today's session? Now, I know some of you have already answered that question, but let's mix things up a little bit. I want you to speak to, among the 3 of you, then after this, you all come out and answer this question for another person, not for yourself. Like, so maybe Sion, you answer it for Penny, Penny answer it for Kaho, Kaho answer it for Sion. Okay? So let's take 2 minutes for you all to share, then after that, one by one will come out to share for someone else. Okay? Cool. So the 2 minutes starts now.
Why? Because actually you are not bound by space. You can teleport into no multiverse. Like Doctor Strange. Like Doctor Strange. Actually anything wrong so people get a
Tumpang.
I always feel the challenge in life is, we are bounded by either there's limitation or restriction or time, right? We are always bounded by all this. I think, I don't know, maybe I watched too much cartoon, but when there's one person develop this power, he becomes so useful. Like anywhere he want to go, anything he want to do, there's no more restriction. So I just feel freedom, yes.
He covered everything. His superpower is like it's like everything. Superpower. I think it's to gauge someone's deepest fear.
Wow.
I think that's the one thing we might have superpower and why then? Because I think when we can deal with our deeper sphere as a soul, then we can upgrade already. We can, in another lifetime, we can upgrade. So that would be the superpower. Because I always think the people that I met, it's always getting the process to be dealing with their deeper sphere. So that would be the superpower I want to have. Huh? Thank you very much.
20 more seconds.
Faster.
Actually, I was. What? I'm so ice.
Yeah.
Hey, you are in a holy place. Behave.
Why is because I want to look through the person's personality so that I can connect the person.
I see. Okay.
Almost the same, actually. I'm extending the time a bit because you all just finished the first question. Second question.
I just want, for me, is whether I can attract more people of my mind. That's what I want to learn.
Oh, true behavioral science.
Yeah, I guess so.
Everyone's the same, like you no fun already. Correct enough.
Like me, but not exactly like me.
Oh,
Sound like me,
wow.
look like me, but
But not me.
Why?
don't hurry.
Okay. Just curious. For me, behavioral science. One thing I want to learn is behavioral science. Like how behavioral science affect the macro and micro and like that.
Interesting.
No, I'm just.
Yeah, that's an econs term, right?
MBA.
No, to point like that. I'm just very generic now. Behavioral science.
That's essentially the course content already. So good. Meeting your expectation already.
For me, would be how to make better money habits
Money
to
habits.
stick on.
Mm.
I think that's one of the biggest challenge we face now.
Oh, I think I know already. I want to add on. It's not. It's not very fun.
Fast already.
No, wait.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, I think it's also important because this will affect. It's important because there is no such topic out there to teach people how to manage or deal with people with behavioral science. If they can understand this, so your friend leadership training, all the human capital consulting could use.
Yeah, can use this.
Behavioral science to
Yep.
deal with people, so we can cultivate more compassionate workplace lah.
Yep.
Like that lah.
Sure.
You two you all want to bring drinks here or not?
Kau?
Yeah, done already.
Huh?
Money habits.
Oh, money habits. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Just adding it on only.
Oh, I see.
You want to be the A student?
Yeah.
Oi! Oh yeah, got point or not? Teacher.
So you will sell another one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very bored.
You'll get more biscuits. You can take home more biscuits from here.
Point.
Okay, cool. I think no need to come out and share it because I've listened everything. Actually, my answer on superpower is the same as yours because I feel like if you can teleport, right, traffic jam is not a problem anymore. Expensive flight ticket is not a problem anymore. And passport, yeah, no need passport to anywhere. But of course, if anyone can do it, I've also given it quite a bit of thought lah. Imagine if everyone can do it. There's no privacy. People can just come to your bedroom and show up in your bedroom at any time. So, yeah. So,
You wash jumpers.
There's already raping cases in metaverse.
really?
Yeah, there's an issue, the ethical issues of some avatar in metaverse. They got harassed, sexual harassed in the metaverse.
In the virtual world.
Yeah, in the virtual world. That's why there are many things immature. Just imagine your kids are living in metaverse. Yeah, it's a world that we cannot imagine. Just
I
like
see.
how to, even we say like Ready Player One or all these.
Yes, Ready Player One, yeah.
I mean, there will be a big gap between the virtual world and the real world. People cannot come back anymore. It's like the psychological. 我们讲精神粮食啦. It's like it's very different. I mean, talking about teleport.
Yeah.
Raw banana.
Banana.
It's just like teleport. We can discuss.
So three of us are bananas, is it?
That's why it's called superpower. I mean, not everyone can have it on actually.
It's not special anymore, is it?
It's because it's pointing out the practical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the policy making.
I was surprised when I say control time.
Huh?
I was surprised when I say control.
Oh, I see. Time control. So you freeze time.
Just change time, go back time.
Oh,
What
okay.
is the time and the time and space?
For him, it's teleporting.
Just moving around.
Physically, yeah.
I'm the type, so like I think even I want a superpower. I mean, going against time, I feel that it's really something. It's very disruptive. I think the word. I think if you watch shows also.
Butterfly
go
effect.
back time because you change so many things. You know,
Yeah.
it's like you can change your past. Can you imagine? Because you can go into any kind of space, or that is, I think it will become. It becomes very disruptive.
Yeah.
It's chaotic really. That type of superpower.
Yeah.
I mean, but that is a very. I mean, that is more to me. It's more than a superpower. Control time is like I think you're bigger than
God.
God, man. Right?
Yeah.
It's quite a dilemma actually. If you have it, will you use it?
Yeah.
Use it, yeah, exactly.
It's quite a dilemma because you never know how it changes things, right?
Yeah.
The simplest of change that you make. Yeah.
Future, right?
If you know the 4D number that opened today,
Yeah, exactly, right?
then will you go back in time to buy it, lah? So, yeah, it's a philosophical question, but it's not meant to be that deep. It's not meant to be that deep. It's meant to break the ice. It's meant to break the ice.
It's okay.
But it's okay. We went through the iceberg already. Yeah. And the second question, good. I think Penny and Kaho's one will be quite in line with what has been structured for today's. And then for Sion's one, I was telling him it will not be directly related to hiring per se, but hopefully, some of these knowledge can be transferable and it might spark ideas in your field as well. So hopefully that, ideation process can begin here, it can spark something. Yeah. Cool. So with that, let's begin. Before I swim into the theory of things, I want you to look at this picture. I actually love this picture quite a bit. This picture paints 1,000 words, and I just want you to look at this and ask yourself, what do you think this picture is trying to say?
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage. Okay. Sion, what do you think?
Cut the tree.
Yes.
Just be sure.
Yeah. Yes.
I'm also wondering.
So I'm not normal.
So you're not abnormal. So how do you make sense of this?
Why?
I just feel, I mean,
Hmm.
maybe he didn't.
What makes him?
Maybe he didn't think about.
Yeah.
Maybe he just wanted to do the action without thinking of the
Consequences.
He just wanted to cut. I mean, the objective was he wanted to cut the tree.
Yep.
He didn't realize by cutting the tree he was there, and
Okay.
it will also affect him.
I see.
If not, why would
Yep.
the question is why would someone?
Why would someone do it?
Why would someone do it?
So I think based on what you say, it's implying that he is, in a way, unconsciously self-sabotage. I don't even know how to say it. Self-sabotage accidentally lah. Yeah. But do some people self-sabotage purposely?
No.
Knowingly? No.
I think so.
No.
I've seen
I don't think so.
Okay, I think.
You've seen before, you have not. Have you seen people self-sabotaging knowingly, like purposely one? Set themselves up for failure.
I would use such a strong word for failure.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just say sometimes it's, maybe I relate to like maybe you just don't want to go maybe not all the way, or I don't know, like deliberately making a mistake, but
Okay.
to the benefit
The
of
rubbish bin is here. Penny is here.
Oh, okay.
maybe for the benefit of someone else. I don't know, maybe like this guy, maybe by doing this, maybe there was something around that he felt that if he goes down, he's safer away.
Yeah.
I don't know, right? Sometimes, because by just looking at the picture, we don't know
Yep,
what's
yep.
around.
Actually, in behavioral science, there's a concept called punishing. You punish yourself so that you can punish others. You purposely make things worse off for yourself to drag the other person down also.
my son.
Huh?
My son.
Huh? Really? Your son? What did he do? Your son? What did he do?
He'll do this, cut the tree.
That's metaphorically, but what did he actually do?
A lot.
Really?
But he did. I mean, after when I explained to him already, I mean, initially he didn't realize it so. But sometimes the
Okay.
emotion gets the better of him.
Okay. Yep. So it's fascinating, right? I mean, human mind is very fascinating, and yet sometimes we do things that either didn't benefit us or it benefits us but not other people. Sometimes we can be quite selfish also, right? So I think that is the nuance of human behavior. It can be, there are positive and negative human behaviors. The reason I show this is because it relates very much to this field. To put it in a very simple way, behavioral science is a study of how humans behave. How do we make decisions? Do we intend to do something but then we act another way? Sometimes it happens, right? So that is the simplest way to define what behavioral science is. But the scientific explanation is, this is jargons already lah. It's a combination of three fields. Cognitive psychology, social psychology, and also behavioral economics. So what cognitive psychology is a study of how human mind works, our brain, our neurons, and all that. Social psychology is a study of how social interactions affect the way we behave. I'll be showing you a video about an elevator experiment after this. Very funny, but humans are social animals. How we behave, sometimes, very frequently, is dictated by how people around us behave, isn't it? Yeah. So that is social psychology. And then the last one is behavioral economics. So like what Penny is saying, how does human behavior collectively have a macro impact? How does, for example, how does our risk appetite affect the stock market movement? Yeah, it can have a massive effect, like herd mentality, right? Like, let's say if people know, oh, EPF selling stock, everyone sells stock. Warren Buffett sell, we sell. Elon Musk buy Bitcoin, we also buy. Yeah. You tweet it, everyone buy. Yeah. So it's a combination of these three. It's very interrelated, but behavioral science combines or links knowledges from all these three. Yeah. To put it more practically, you might have heard of different terms being thrown out there. You might have heard of behavioral science here. Just now I mentioned behavioral economics. In short, it's BE. Behavioral science is BS. I know what it sounds like, but globally it's actually being used. And sometimes they make fun of it. Yeah, like totally BS. Or a full day of BS. So one day behavioral science conference, they call it a full day of BS lah. So it's actually used out there. Like initially Kaho was asking me, hey, you better don't use the word BS. And then globally also, in UK also they use it. Yeah, it's recognized term. So BS, BE, another one in Malaysia. In Malaysia, the government used this word BI, Bahasa English. No. It's behavioral insights. Behavioral insights. But practically speaking, all three same thing. Refers to the same thing. Same theory, same foundation. So three countries here, you can recognize the flag. US, UK, and US. This is Australia actually. Then UK. Yeah. So you can see that different countries use different terms. So in US, they call their behavioral insights team within the government is called social and behavioral science team. And then Australia, they call it behavioral economics team of the Australian government. And then UK one is behavioral insights team. Same thing. Yeah. So just for you all to be aware, when you go out there and you hear different terms being thrown out, what does it mean? It's the same thing. So behavioral science, psychology has existed for the longest of time. So this is not exactly something new. When you go to supermarket, why is it that things are priced at $4.99? Why not just $5? It's psychology. What do they place at the eye level? Why do they willing to promote Milo and make loss for Milo just to attract you to come into the supermarket? These are all psychology. So it's been applied for the longest time by private sector for marketing purposes, for branding purposes. What's different now is this movement is now even government is starting to take notice of it. People like you and me starting to take note. That's the only difference. Why suddenly there's a big interest in this? It all started in 2008 through this book. Have you all anyone here heard of this book called Nudge? No. Anyone heard of this term called Nudge? Like, wake up.
I know the word.
Yes, the spirit of the word, the essence of the word, what it means, right? So essentially, it is a book authored by Richard Taylor and Cass Sunstein. Richard Taylor is a behavioral economist. Cass Sunstein is a lawyer, but at the same time, he's very, very interested in this behavioral economics field. So they joined force, wrote this book, essentially trying to make this more layman. All this behavioral science knowledge more easily understandable. They use day-to-day example. So after this book was published, it caught fire. A lot of people starting to get interested. Governments around the world starting to, hey, maybe we can use it. So a couple of years after that, UK in 2010, US in 2015, Australia in 2016, they start to establish their own behavioral science team within the government to use this knowledge for policy, to make smarter policies. And then 2017, Nobel Prize. One of the author won the Nobel Prize. And then the following year when OECD, which is Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, they were taking stock how many countries around the world actually are applying behavioral science in policy. When they last counted in 2018, there were more than 40 countries. So it's spreading. And in Malaysia, in 2019, it reached our shore. So how many years behind we are? We're 10 years behind. We are BS. We are adopting BS. So the Ketua Setiausaha Negara officially announced that we are embracing behavioral insights. We are encouraging all levels of government, whether it's federal government, state, local authorities. So even your Majlis Perbandaran, Petaling Jaya or MPBJ, SJ, correct. So they are encouraged to adopt this. And the government agency that's in charge to promote this usage of behavioral insight is MPC, Malaysia Productivity Corporation. This guy is the boss. So now, the past couple of years, Malaysian government has been engaging behavioral science consultant when they want to know, let's say if Majlis Perbandaran Subang Jaya, they want to learn how do I encourage people to pay the cukai taksiran, the assessment fee on time. What behavioral intervention can I use? That's number one. Or they can say, JPJ, Jabatan Pengangkutan Jalan, right? You know how you renew road tax, you sometimes will go into their office. They want to see how can we encourage people, instead of paying using cash, we want to encourage them to use cashless payment. How can we use behavioral insights to encourage this? Yeah. So very, very real on the ground issues. Solving all problems using behavioral insights, essentially. Yeah. So very interesting times. So that's why I thought of maybe spending the next couple of years to actually expand the usage of this within Malaysia. So within various government blueprints, behavioral science have been absorbed into the lingo. So you could see whether it's about financial literacy or in our trade blueprint, you can already see behavioral science being absorbed. So financial literacy, for example, they want to use nudge to motivate good financial behavior, to promote good financial behavior. Under the 12 Malaysia plan, they want to use behavioral insights to improve public service efficiency. And then trade blueprint, they want to use behavioral science to encourage small businesses to start exporting. Exporting means start selling your goods to other countries. So widening your market a bit. Yeah. Okay so far? Yes.
So, what do you think about NLP and behavioral science? So that was also always coming to my mind.
Yep.
To just talk about the picture that you asked us just now, like why that person do that thing. And because I'm also looking into different angle that how people, different approaches, how people dissect behavioral science. Because I think it's just a different version of interpretation. Like just now you show the revolution, right? So I myself, that's why I get into NLP, I get into even some spiritual healing or energy modality. I talk about, like you talk about the word punishing, and why I say I disagree on why will people self-sabotage themselves or punish themselves knowingly. But because I have encountered many people, actually they are doing it unconsciously because they don't know what's the deepest inside belief system that they are holding in their subconscious mind. That also got me to think about, because I also like to study how the mind works or how the brain works, right? To understand it physically or even now a lot of psychologists, a lot of studies being carried out, like Daniel Kahneman talk about system 1, 2, and then there are people talking about system.
We'll be talking about that.
System 3 and 4 now. So I just want to know, like, so this behavioral science is like the root, is it? It's like the blood. Then
I would say though. I would say so, yeah.
Is it like NLP? That's why they have NLP, because NLP is cover quite a lot of things that most laymen can understand.
Yes.
Many people without understanding how the brain works, will understand NLP in that sense. So
how do you define NLP first?
Okay, initially how I got to know about it is just a communication. For me, it's just a communication technique. Then I went deeper to see Tony Robbins. I went to dissect how Tony Robbins has been using NLP in all his conferences for the past 40 years. Because of the founder, I wanted to know since because just now I look at the timeline. If you look at the timeline, right, NLP is way beyond that, you know. NLP, I don't know, is it because of the before that it's 1970s or something. 1970s when the family psychotherapist and this Richard Bandler, they I don't know whether they go into the academic way to prove it or not. But I know it's a family psychotherapist and this Richard Bandler, they come up with this neuro-linguistic program. So they are trying to with this NLP technique, that's why they say the application is not just personal life, you know, your professional life. They talk about, you know, your quality of your communication determine your quality of living, and there are many different interpretations after that through this NLP branch. So I was thinking, is it behavioral science? Is way before that. Like just now you show cognitive psychology, and so is behavioral science the branch from the main psychology? I don't know, because in psychology they are like clinical and they are like, I just wanted to know, to trace it back. Now this behavioral science is under which category? You know, the main...
I think maybe it's useful to go back here. So I believe that I believe the root of behavioral science is this tree. But if you look at this root, this common word here, psychology have existed for the longest of time.
Exactly.
It's not just 2008, right? So I believe that the root of behavioral science, which is psychology, plus economics in a way, I think your NLP one is probably this.
Cognitive, right?
Yeah. So in a way, I guess they share the same root. And like you said, since 1970s, very long already. So I think the only difference here with behavioral science is to be able to mix psychology with economics, and for the knowledge to be used in a more day-to-day kind of thing.
Because it's also prompt you to think about, let's say, design thinking, the thinking tool of design thinking. All everyone is talking about UI, UX now.
Yes.
It's all based on
this. It's all based on this, yes.
It's all based on this.
And
then I try to like, the point I'm trying to make is like, so how do you interpret NLP, for example, you know? But NLP has been adopted very widely in the layman community, I would say. Not the academic way of studying NLP, but we're like, in MBA we don't do NLP, but a lot of things like marketing,
coaching seminar and all that.
Now applying this technique. Selling is very widely used, you know, and it's also I think it's interrelated. I'm not sure whether is it academically proven. Did they prove the correlation or something, I don't know.
I see.
Right. How do you see NLP?
Then I would see NLP as something that have existed even before this. I would categorize it the same way as how the knowledge of psychology has been used by supermarkets and a lot of private sector to do marketing, to do branding, to increase customer loyalty, get more people to come. LV, they want to get people to come, look at their bags and spend more each time they come. So I think it will fall into the same category as that. It's basically using the knowledge of psychology for either profit making or maybe for education. I would say NLP is for education, right? True or true? Raise your, how many of you? Because I've gone through training from our coach, so me and Kaho, we took a class from Michael Tan, so he's a property guru. And Dato Michael Tan already, right? Yeah, so we did not just go in and buy property, but for me at least, I went through stage training and he embed a lot of NLP in there. And for example, if the energy in the room is low, all right, could you give the person next to you a big high five and say, I'm awesome?
Yeah.
That's NLP, right? Yeah, so now the difference I see with this is it's not just being used within the private sector, but it's broadened to especially government, trying to improve the public's life at large. Number two, I would say NGOs. That is the major difference. I don't know, maybe it's not like, since NLP is already out there, why don't NGOs, why haven't they used it as much as they could have?
Yes.
I don't know, but sometimes I guess you need a bit of momentum. You need a bit of awareness of what the knowledge actually is, how to use it. And I think maybe the publication of this book creates that momentum.
Right.
The bandwagon effect in a way that, oh wow, so cool, Anna. Oh, it's so cool, I can actually use it, like for a day-to-day thing. So that's why now NGO, they use it. Normally NGO, the biggest experiment in behavioral science is how do you increase donation? That's the biggest. So you have a lot of experiment on, the envelope that they hand to you, they will change. They will change pictures of children, or they will use some words. Instead of saying, can you get 50 ringgit, or they will contextualize it, just sacrifice 1 cup of coffee a day. Like very common, right? These are all behavioral science, right? So that's the only difference. I would say private sector have used it all this while, including NLP. The only difference going forward is public sector, NGO, and in institutions like this, like financial education firms. Yeah. That's how I would see it. Yeah. Any other question? Kaho or Sion so far? Okay. All right. Kaho? Okay. Good. Okay, so we've gone through what it means, a bit of the milestones. So now, go into a bit of the theory now. So the underlying assumption behind behavioral science is that we are not always rational. That's why we cut the trees and we fall. Any one of you took economics in uni? None. Okay, just as a subject. Okay, so when you learn economics as a subject, the underlying assumption is that we are perfectly rational. Ceteris paribus. What else? We always maximize our happiness. So in a way, they assume that we are like a robot. We always make the most rational decision. But is that realistic?
No.
Yeah, so that is why behavioral science becomes something so, it catches momentum because it reflects reality more than economics. These are only some of the example of biases that Cass Sunstein actually listed out. I'll go through it a little bit more later, but present bias, it essentially means you focus on the present. You want gratification today. You want things today. If I give you 100 ringgit today or 150 ringgit tomorrow, which one will you choose? You choose 100 ringgit today. I want now. Unrealistic optimism is like, you're overconfident, optimistic all the time. COVID, don't worry, no wear mask, we won't get one, don't worry, I won't get one. Savings, no need sure got enough for my rainy days, sure. No need insurance, no need, nothing happened to me. That is unrealistic optimism. Limited attention, I mean, nowadays so many things trying to grab our attention, so you cannot focus very well to even decide on something very, very crucial to you. Yeah, so that's an example of this tree. Sorry, you want to say something? Sia?
No, I can say I totally agree.
Totally agree. Yeah.
So too much information everywhere nowadays.
Correct.
Everybody has their views of it.
Yeah. Especially through social media.
Yep.
Freedom of speech is such a big thing now. So it's really up to you to filter what is important and what is not. Now, in behavioral science, you are not short of theories. It's like how they say nowadays, you have app for everything. You have a theory for everything. Sometimes I feel that too many. So if you feel like, wow, another new name for a new bias, you're not alone. I feel like when I took my master's, like, this normal thing also, you got a name. Yeah, so I have actually that thing. So don't worry, there's like hundreds, if not thousands of biases out there. These are just some of it. And in fact, the funny thing is, some of it actually contradict each other. I highlighted the two contradicting one in red and two in blue. So For example, we talk about unrealistic optimism. At the same time, there's a theory called negativity bias. So it means that we sensationalize bad news. We focus on the negative news. Headlines. Normally, it is the negative news that get viral very, very fast. So we're very clashing, right? The spirit of it. Imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Anyone heard of it? Heard of it?
Yeah, I had it.
You had it. Sion, have you heard of imposter syndrome? Heard of it?
Not really.
Okay.
That's an imposter.
Imposter syndrome means you like underconfidence. You feel like people say, hey Sion, you're very good. But deep down you feel like, actually no. I'm not as good as you think I am. So you feel like you're an imposter. You feel like you berlakun that you're very good, but actually you're not. So very low self-esteem. Dunning-Kruger effect is the opposite, where actually you're not good, but you think you're very good.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a whaler.
You heard it, right? It's the opposite of each other. So sometimes I was like, is it fair to have something that's contradicting? But when I think of it, that's life, isn't it? Sometimes you behave one way and at times you behave in other ways. So actually these two can be same at the same time.
Yeah.
As a society, we can be very optimistic about our prospect. Like I said, you feel like, I'll never get COVID one. But at the same time, you like to read news, oh, people die.
Yeah.
I think to me that is the, I don't know, is it the parody of life? Or sometimes in life there's always yin and yang. There's always two sides of the same coin. So I think in a way behavioral science reflects that.
What's IKEA effect?
Oh, nice, right?
Yeah. So
Any guess? Anyone like to guess what IKEA effect means? Have you heard of it?
IKEA no.
Yeah. What does IKEA do? What is special about IKEA's product?
about furniture.
Yes. So what's the difference between a furniture you buy in IKEA with a furniture that you buy from a normal furniture shop? Let's say Courts Mammoth. What's the difference between the furniture from IKEA and the furniture from Courts?
The whole experience of
Okay.
the whole experience of how they design the way the moment you walk inside, you can't skip anything and you just have to, and then how
One-way street.
Yeah, how they design that one particular corner, you feel like you already buy this chair and then you need to buy some other small items.
Okay, so that is the shopping experience.
Yeah.
But what about the product itself? What's different about IKEA's product?
Simplicity,
Okay.
very simple.
Do you?
Practical.
Huh?
I say maybe practical.
Practical, okay.
I mean, they don't. I think price, quality, everything is. They have a certain standard. I feel it kind of matches. I feel.
Okay.
They have a certain.
So simple, practical, got quality. Getting there. Let me ask you. Give you one more hint. Does IKEA furniture normally come ready-made?
Yeah, they let you enjoy the process of making your own.
Exactly. Bingo. That's the answer. So
I hate it.
you hate it. Then
But people like it. The whole process.
so then IKEA effect is not for you.
Assembly.
So IKEA effect is what Penny described. When you have a hand in assembling something, you value it much more than when you buy it just ready-made. Yeah. So they did an experiment where out of clay you made the cup. How much do you value the cup versus something that looks similar, same quality? How much do you value it? Significantly higher if you are the one who made it.
I think very true.
It's like your name, like your name is on it.
Yeah.
Just another card.
Because you have a hand, you
I
ownership.
think
You have
it's
a ownership.
the sensory memory that you have.
Yeah.
It's like you go into the bathroom, you see that small hanger that you do it yourself. It will already lifetime memory that hey, that one I do one.
Yeah, you put effort into it. Sayang. You already put effort into it already, ma. So that is what IKEA effect captures, lah. The other one that's quite interesting, I find, is decoy effect. It's very prominent in online sales. So decoy means they purposely put something to make you choose another product. Have you heard of magazine subscription where they give you 3 choices?
Yeah.
Where if you subscribe for 1 month is this price, if you subscribe for 2 months is this price, if you subscribe for 1 year, it's like crazily cheap compared to this two. Yeah. So they purposely put like very bad option
Yeah.
so that you choose. Yeah. So the other one looks good. Correct. It's a decoy effect. Online marketing or marketing as a whole, they always use that.
Pricing.
Yes.
Pricing strategy.
Pricing or sizing.
Yeah.
So they put a bad choice there lah, so that you choose the one that they want you to choose. Yeah. So some of it are very interesting actually. All right, so we've talked a bit about the underlying assumptions, some biases. Let's talk about something that Penny raised just now by Daniel Kahneman. He's a very well-known psychologist. He also got Nobel Prize in 2002, before all this behavioral science revolution started. He came up with two things. Number one, system 1 and 2. The second one he came up with together with Amos Tversky is called prospect theory. We'll go through prospect theory afterwards. But system 1 and 2, it basically simplifies how our brain works. Sometimes we make decisions very, very fast. Sometimes we make decisions very, very slow. Sometimes we are very, very emotional. We make very emotional decisions. Sometimes we make very calculated decisions. Can relate or not? Like imagine things like brush your teeth. Do you think when you brush your teeth?
No.
Do you think when you drive?
No.
Would you think if you buy a new house?
Yes.
Would you think if you buy a new car?
Yes.
Yes, right. So very, very different.
Yeah.
Very different. So system 1, I would call it listening to your heart, listening to your intuition. System 2 is more of the listening to your brain kind of thing. It's not to say that one is better than the other. It works at different times. So if it's an everyday decision, do you want to spend so much time thinking about it? Like you want to save your effort, you want to save your brain energy, right? So that's why sometimes a lot of our decisions are automated. Like for me, today what I wear, I ikut the sequence and I wear already, I wash, once it's dry, I put at the back. And then I'll wear the next one next. Then I'll wash, I put behind. So I don't have to think of what I need to wear. Right? Yeah, so what I need to wear is system 1. It's not, I don't need to think. Mark Zuckerberg wear the same thing, Simon Cowell wear the same shirt. So it's different people's way of coping with life's demand. So what it says here is sometimes we make shortcuts. And if you heard of this word called heuristics, so in the future when you go out there, people say heuristics when it comes to behavioral science. What it means is we take shortcuts. Heuristics means shortcut. So let's play a few games here.
What's the name of the guy?
Daniel
Kahneman, yeah. So Daniel is his first name. His surname is Kahneman.
Come out with a new book called Noise.
Yes, yeah. Actually, sometimes I feel like they're recycling thing and maybe spin it in a different way.
Yeah. I just feel like it's just different interpretations.
Yes,
you know?
exactly. So he published a new book lah.
Decoy effect.
Yeah, I think, or maybe he used more recent example.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
yeah, how recent application of behavioral science is. For sure, he will insert some COVID examples. Yeah, because 2008 book won't have COVID.
now everything are all post-COVID already.
Yes,
Post-COVID
yes.
is like a whole new world, and then
Correct.
everyone just come up with another version with after COVID.
Yes.
But it's the same content.
Same
Yeah.
framework.
Yes.
Same
Yes.
framework.
Same theory, but the way it's applied is more updated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you watched Brain Games before?
Brain games. No.
It used to appear on National Geographic Channel.
Oh.
Now they call it History Channel. So
Okay.
I enjoyed that series very much because there's a lot of behavioral science and NLP and really showing you how the brain works. So
Nice.
I actually use some of the games in our training as well.
Brain games.
Yeah. If you got Disney Plus, you can access.
Oh, it's through that channel.
Yeah.
Okay,
But last
not
time
YouTube.
I think you can find some.
Clips.
Last time it used to be on Astro,
Oh.
but there's no repeat lah. Right, they air it, then it's done lah. But Disney Plus is basically get access.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what activities that they use.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah, because the interesting thing about behavioral science is they find very creative ways to test a theory. Yeah.
Why I like that show so much is because it's very interactive. You get to play together in the show itself.
Serious?
Yeah.
As an audience.
Yeah. So they will structure it in such a way that you get to play the game as well. And then before they give you the answer. So then it's always that answer that is already prepared. That's how they already know the...
But how do you submit your answer? Can you interact with them?
No, I mean, they'll ask you to guess first.
Oh.
They'll show you the answer.
They'll show you the answer, okay.
You'll be like, hey shit, how do you know?
Brain game show.
Sounds like a magician almost. Magic form.
That's why it's very captivating.
Okay. So,
yeah. John Silva is the,
wait, your screen very big, wait.
Huh?
What's this?
iPad Pro.
Wow.
Like A4, I want to save the tree one.
Yes, exactly. So today no notes. There's an A4 paper there if you want to write things. But I noticed you all bring your own notebook. You have a digital one. You type there, is it? Oh, no wonder. Nice. Can. Okay lah, can lah. I mean, we have it there just in case if some of you want to write. Okay lah, at least you have your notebook already. So in the spirit of being interactive, hopefully this next 1 or 2 slides will be interesting for you guys. Just wanted to ask, when you buy a phone or when you buy an iPad, do you listen to your heart or do you listen to your brain? Which one? Okay, so how many of you go with your heart when buying a phone? You answer for her? Yeah, that's the ice breaking.
Actually it's system 1 that prompted it, but then you will use system 2 to like rationalize it. You will find a means for yourself that, I think I need the upgrade. This one.
So you justify it with system 2 after that.
Yeah.
So is that called system 3 where you mix both?
Oh, they actually say system 3 is more bringing into the Corp. What does it mean by wise decision making?
Oh.
I think there's an Australian doctor that do this system 3 research with a neuroscientist or something. They still find there's like a middle or the fault or the another segment in the brain reaction and kind of thing. I don't know.
Wow.
But if you search system 3 thinking, right, you will find this Peter J. Webb guy.
I see.
From Australia that he's carrying out. I think it's still very preliminary research. That you think
system 3 and
there might be some blind spot that Daniel Kahneman is missing.
Okay. Possible lah, because he's just simplifying things.
Yeah.
So sure got more one.
Yeah, I think so.
Initially I thought it's just a mixture of the two. System 1 plus 2.
Yeah, and he emphasized a lot on the focus thing, like how the brain focus right now, and compassionate. He brings in compassion. Like what does he mean by compassionate?
Values.
Yeah, he brings that angle comes in. Yeah.
Interesting.
Peter J. Webb, like that guy called
System 3 thinking.
Peter J. Webb. I think
WEB.
WEBB. Peter J. Webb. WEBB.
This one I know what I'm lah.
You control yourself in system 2, right? I know.
I know Penny also.
No, recently I really think, maybe it's time for upgrade. iPhone 14 Pro come out already.
See.
Alright, so need to take notes really. Brain games and system 3. Peter J. Webb. Okay. So the one who used heart will be Penny, and then Kaho and Sion.
They think only.
You see what phone? Android is confirmed system 2.
Okay, iPhone is confirmed system.
So
I don't know. iPhone maybe more system 1. Right?
Hey, you need to see I'm still using my broken iPhone. It's XS, I jumped from iPhone 6 to 10. So I didn't
wow.
Which one is system 3?
Why?
Just like you say that he want an iPhone, but his heart telling him to buy an iPhone, but his brain telling him to get iPhone the older version.
Yeah.
Really?
I really think
Okay, that is phone.
Yeah.
Next one. Choose a partner. When you choose a partner, is it a heart or a brain?
But now very different already,
Not very different already.
The era,
I think I'm system 3.
not in the system.
It's not within the choice.
I don't have a system.
Don't have a system.
I think no system. system already.
Error 444.
I went with the brain part first. I listed out the criteria.
See?
Then after that, I went and looked for that person. Then the heart tell me, okay, this is the person.
Wow.
Hey, I was watching a Netflix documentary of this. They're talking about the current dating apps
Okay.
era. I think the Gen Z people, they really use analytics on it.
Wow.
They really, I don't know lah. Will there be a time where they use dating analytics to find
the right person? Yeah.
The other half,
Yeah.
right? But also because of dating app has changed the scene of how people choose their mate.
Yep.
I think. The dating apps.
Yeah, last time I got such a tool.
Yeah.
Last time don't have.
Yeah,
Ah.
but they will also reduce the satisfaction of like, because you keep thinking you will find a better one. When you're in a relationship, it's very different because they will think like, never good enough kind of.
Could I have found a better one if I wait? Yeah.
Kind of, or if I keep meeting people.
Yes.
Because it's get the ease of it.
Correct.
Right? So
Correct.
I think there's still a lot to study in
Yeah.
this new world, you know.
Correct. So when do I stop? When do I settle? Right?
Yeah.
Actually,
It's really like the bus experience, right?
What experience?
The bus experience.
which one? What bus?
You don't know whether you hop on the right bus, right? So you keep on waiting.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
what they always use in the Chinese analogy.
Oh.
That's why we need wisdom right now.
Yeah. So
Without
that is.
wisdom, we are like.
So that is system 3 lah. Is it wisdom?
I think it's like very philosophical.
Very philosophical already.
It's
Okay.
like morally, you know.
So it seems like there's a mixture of both, and you're saying that with technology now it's going from heart to brain, almost. that's
Wait, let's ask you.
for me. It's more of a heart thing lah. Yeah. There were a lot of adrenaline rush.
Yeah.
There were a lot of what do you call it? Like you are in a cloud nine the first couple of.
Explain one.
Yeah.
You cannot explain kind of.
Yeah.
I never heard your love story before.
Yeah. It was very reckless.
I was hoping that I attended the anniversary and then you.
Yeah. Oh no. There's a lot of juicy parts that I probably can't share. But reckless start, but after that it became stable. Yeah.
I don't think it's reckless,
Yeah.
like that feeling, right?
Yeah. It was a big leap because of the age gap. I was like, should I not, kind of thing. But in the heat of the moment, I went for it, and then after that, it lasted for quite a while. In the blink of an eye, now 9 years already. So it's been quite a while. Yeah, we actually met in Buddhist Jam Fellowship's event. We attended counseling course. It wasn't in this building; it was in the old building. That's where we first met. Yeah, in SS2. Correct.
I sense the first thing is you felt it's because there was a big age gap.
Correct. And at that time, she was
Very young, is it?
no, old. She already had a husband. She had three children.
Wow.
She's in a way separated from the husband already lah, at least physically. About to do so legally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now I'm so curious about it.
No, it's okay. Basically, for me, my answer is hard. That's the conclusion lah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no worries.
Wow.
The last one, this one might be a bit tricky also lah. So, choosing a holiday destination, which one will you? Both ah.
Both for.
Then for Sion and Kaho, which one do you normally go for?
I think initially I was more of one. I think to me is why if I want to go for a vacation,
Okay.
I feel that it doesn't need to be so. You don't need to know so much of the details. You're going for a vacation, just do what you want to do.
Okay.
Right? So, but because of technology these days, when you go out also, right? When you want to search something, people will start saying that, right? You start seeing what people
Reviews.
So can't help it. Sometimes I also look at other people, what they say.
FOMO.
No, wanted to get the real deal.
Yeah, I want to get the best deal kind of
I
thing.
mean, it is
Yeah,
still
how do we know
made
it's
like
the best
that.
deal?
Yep.
But sometimes I will think back. I mean, I also, it's like they're not going through a process. one, then two, then the tune. I thought myself, why am I doing so much of this? Because I'm going for it. I mean, never mind. I'm sure when you're there, it's a vacation, right? You need to be so sometimes too.
Can chill lah, can chill a bit lah.
Yeah, can chill.
Yeah. It's not work lah, it's not work lah.
Yeah, I need to go with you.
Yeah. No need pros and cons lah, no need pros and cons lah.
Yeah, it's just,
No need to
it
reason
depends who I go. Okay, so the other thing is also is the people I go with. Also.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, at least if I know if I'm bringing a group of, I mean the people that I'm bringing someone or I'm
You bring your insurance group, for example.
Or, yeah, if I'm heading or what, then I think better to also plan.
Then it will be two lah.
Yeah.
But if you go with your, are you married?
Yes, I'm married.
If you go with your wife, just two of you, then most likely
Yeah, if two of us,
go with the flow.
we can go with the flow lah.
Go with the flow lah.
No system 1 and 2. Wife system.
But actually, okay, the truth is, but the recent few trips also wasn't, I still go towards a bit of system 2 because if 1 or 2 days you can chill, it's fine lah. But because my holiday sometimes I don't go like too short also. Like if I go for 5 a week.
Okay.
So this type of thing, if you really don't plan anything, I feel it's very
boring.
Not only you're wasting time.
Okay.
You're going there and search for things. You're going there to ask people how it goes. I feel it's a bit of wasting of time.
You want to maximize whatever.
Maximize it because now time is everything.
Yep.
More or less now, right?
True.
You don't want to go all the way, travel all the way there.
Just to do research there.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yep.
Sometimes that thought thoughts are not so crazy. I mean,
Yep.
that's what.
That's a thought process I go
That's the
through it.
thought process
Yep.
of it, yeah.
Yep. Thanks for sharing. Kaho?
For me, I think I've always been system 2 until I met Penny. She changed.
Wow. See the impact that you have. Any?
Ice breaking.
Oh!
The iceberg.
You need to say clearly what you cannot blame it on.
I think blame me is
Wow.
very
So after meeting you, Kaho's more in touch with his system 1.
Because he suppressed himself, he rationalized it with system 2 is the only system that can work.
Yeah. So she
Then you still got system 1 more.
told me the different world. So,
Wow.
So recently we went to Sunway for staycation with my kids with my wife.
Okay.
So like system 1. Then like we went there to enjoy one. Then here my wife is like, hey, she was asking the kids, do you know what's agenda?
Whoa.
You know where you're going or not?
Agenda.
Hey, chill lah. I thought we were going for home vacation. Then yeah, I think she's like what Sean was saying that she don't waste time and she really needs to know what is going to happen.
Jing jing jing.
So I guess that's why you remember I told you the life partner, otherwise system 2 law, the criteria. That's the result of that.
Wow.
Because she and me quite
Similar.
yeah.
Okay.
So now I'm trying to help her to find system 1.
The balance lah.
So I
To
introduced
explore system
Penny
1.
to her also.
Introduce Penny to her. Yeah, exactly.
The beauty of system 1.
The beauty of system 1. Cool.
Yeah, because she's so system 1, right?
So now the interesting thing is there's an international study on this in Switzerland. So let's see what the result is now.
Wow.
So it depends on what sort of decision is being made. So choosing your partner, choose clothes, what restaurant to eat, which doctor to go to, which phone to buy, vacation, destination. So you can see that the gray one means follow your heart. The dark one is follow your brain.
What's the science of the survey?
Oh yeah, good question. Not very sure. Need to check back. I just know that it's done in Switzerland lah. But normally, I tell you, psychology experiment, the sample size not very big one. A lot of the papers that I read, typically, if it's 400, 500 people, they consider this sample quite big already. Whereas for me, I thought you need to go for at least thousands or so in order for it to be meaningful. But for them, no. The hundreds consider quite okay already. So I suspect it will be around there because this is a psychology experiment. So overall, choosing partner, clothes, restaurant, it's more heavy on the heart. And then choosing doctor, brain, phone, brain. Vacation, a bit balanced lah. Vacation a bit balanced. Yeah, yeah. So relatable. So we are not very different from people in Switzerland.
Yeah, I'm just very curious how is its career choice?
True. I think if it's career choice, most likely it'll be brain already. It's a very high stake decision. So we talked about some examples of nudges, but nudge is not the only way. Nudge is not the only way you apply behavioral science. You can also use behavioral science to, number one, better understand the behavior of your target group. Before you even decide what nudge to use, isn't it important to find out what is the underlying issue? What stops people from behaving in a certain way that you want? Like if let's say you are talking about, you want to encourage people to don't speed on the road. Don't speed, not pui, but that one can also like, don't drive slower. So what's stopping people from driving slower? What's encouraging people to speed? Isn't it important to know? Then only you design your intervention. Yeah. So that's the idea behind it. So the next few studies will hopefully give us some insights on two things. Number one, what are Malaysians' saving habits? What influences how Malaysians save? And number two, who's more vulnerable to financial scams, especially phone scams? So the first one is a research by PIDM. This is on savings. So they collaborate with, I mentioned just now, the UK-based punya behavioral insights team. And they did a bunch of experiments, they did a bunch of surveys, and they found three things. There were a lot of things, but I just highlight three key ones. Number one, we got present bias. The one that I mentioned just now, that bias. Number two, there's evidence that we are overconfident, especially in a certain age group. I will show which one afterwards. Number three is we stick with defaults. So if you use some very smart defaults, you can actually increase savings for Malaysians. So, okay the finding makes sense, right? It shows that all these theories, it applies to us. And the theories that are derived in a Western country, so happen it actually applies to us too. For me, the interesting thing is, how did they test it? As someone who's studying this field, I can't help but to be intrigued. So I'll show a couple of ways that they do. So they survey and experiment with 1,400 Malaysians. The survey is being done online. So to test present bias, what they did is they asked a bunch of questions online that is to do with something like this. Right? Like just now I say, I give you 100 ringgit today, or if you wait one day, I'll give you 150. So in this case, today you get 140, but if you wait for 2 months, you get 316. Is this a big difference? Good, right? If you wait for 6 months, you get 499. So I think those who cannot wait really, very impatient. Like, I want it today. So they did. They asked a bunch of questions like this. They compute a score and index in such a way that between 0 to, I think, 2.5, negative 2.5 to positive 2.5. So the higher the number, the more present bias, the more impatient you are. So what they found is, if you look at the results by income group, the poorer you are, the lower here, no income, the more present bias. Yeah. Why?
Because you are so little to begin with. The poorer you are, you need something more instant, like say, because something.
You need money today to use it, right? Kais pagi makan pagi, kais petang makan petang, right?
Yeah. So like what you said, which one makes more impact, right? The one homeless or to someone?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Like that.
True. Yeah, actually that makes a lot of sense. It also means that, let's say for insurance purpose, to promote insurance to someone who's poor, you have barriers at two levels. Number one, they got no money. Number two, they have present bias. Pay you for something that may not happen. Don't want. I'd rather buy food. So, two level of challenge.
So it's quite. After we come to a realization also. This is also a way how we push people to work. Like in the team, we will share this example. If you meet someone who is capable, and a rich person tell you, because I'm rich, I don't buy insurance, then this is where actually it's totally not true. The poor has two types of concerns. Either they have no money and they don't why pay now for something like that.
May not happen.
The rich, in the other hand, they have all the money, correct, but they don't want to use their money. But all the more because they already have the resource. It's only a question whether they want to take that chance in it.
Yes.
Right?
Correct.
You either use your own money to pay, or you use
ING's or Prudential's money.
Correct. Or you use somebody else's money. So you make that choice. I mean, when we come to that, when we try to anchor, when we try to rather convince or prove a point.
Yep.
Why all the world richest people, they still buy? Why? Right? Why does Jack Ma also say, why does he buy so many insurance policy? You think he doesn't have money? I mean, as just what he's saying openly.
Yep.
I mean, to me, that makes, sometimes it's just to change a person's belief, rather than sometimes you just go there, people tell you, then you say, then you start to agree with the person.
Yeah.
Then you lose something, you lose a case like that.
Correct. Correct.
I feel not a very strong, there's no basis towards that. I mean, or rather you can paint a different picture to that person.
Yeah.
Right? You can actually tell, hey, you are right. But you know what? You have another option actually.
Yes.
You don't realize you can use other
people's money.
Other people's money instead. Now, would that be something even more, sounds even better?
Attractive to you.
Attractive to you or not?
Yeah.
So something in that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. That makes a lot of sense. Now, in addition to what you say, you can show them this. Yeah. But it's fascinating. I mean, so I think this will have very practical implications in terms of how we promote savings among the poor, promote insurance among the poor. So this is the first one, present bias. Second one is default. How do they test it? Right? So first what they did is, sorry, the font is a bit small, but basically towards the end of the survey, they give the participant, the online participant, they give money. They say, okay, thank you for participating, I'm going to give you 300 ringgit. You have a choice whether to take it or you leave it with us for a bit longer. We give you 20% return on the 300. Yeah. In how long? In 2 months. Okay, right? 20% return, 2 months. Very good. So, will they actually get the money? Well, they will choose lucky draw. So not everybody will get the money, but they will choose 5 lucky draw to actually get the money. So in a way, it's not hypothetical. Some of it might actually get the money. So the question now is, they want to see, number one, do you save? Do you choose to save, or do you choose to take the money? That's first. Number 2 is, if you choose to save, do you choose to save the whole 300 ringgit, or you just choose to save 50 ringgit or 100 ringgit out of the 300? So that's what they are trying to test. And they randomly assign participant into either one of these 3 groups. Number 1 is the control group, where there's no intervention, no behavioral intervention. Number 2, this group, in the survey form, they already pre-select that yes, I will save. They already tick for them. This is default. Number 3, framing, where they didn't pre-select, they didn't tick for them, but they say, oh, you save, the return can buy you 5 KFC meal, for example. They actually didn't say how they frame it, but they say what they did is, if they present savings in a more relatable and tangible way, instead of just a dollar value, they want to test whether does it encourage people to save. So like, you can buy 5 Pizza Hut. Something like that, instead of just saying, oh, you get money, you get return. So they want to test, out of these 2, which one works better, compared to the control group where neither of this exist. That's the result. So, control, default, framing. So they found that the default group saved more, 60 ringgit more than the control. Then the framing one, no effect, 63 cents only. Yeah. So essentially the main takeaway is default can increase the amount of savings. Yeah. If used in a smart way, I would say. Next, overconfidence. How do they measure it? 3 steps. Number 1, they ask your ability to do something, then they actually ask you to do it, and then they compare whether can you actually do it. So what the task that they gave was could you spot the correct logo among a lot of the fake logos? So this one is they didn't ask them to do it yet, they just asked, do you think you can? Number 2 is then they ask you to do it lah. And then they compare the results. If you score better than you think you can score, that means you're not overconfident. It's justified. Maybe you're underconfident. But if you score worse than what you think you will score, you're overconfident. That's how they measure overconfidence. I mean, it's a bit too simplistic to me in my opinion. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. But I think when you want to apply this to savings, macam not quite relevant. But anyway, I'll share with you the findings first on the right hand side. So the higher the score, so this is by age group. This is by different age group. The higher the score means the more overconfident you are. So the one with the highest one is between 45 to 54 years old. So it means this group has the highest level of overconfidence. And in fact, if you look at the trend, it seems like the older you are, the more confident you become, the more overconfident you become. So I don't know, they didn't explain it in the study, but my conjecture is the older you get, the more confident you become, maybe the more experience you get, the more knowledge you learn. But somehow once you retire, look at the score, man. So perhaps when you retire already, you don't use your brain as much. Then maybe you feel like you're not so confident with your cognitive ability anymore. Yeah. And I guess you'll be wondering, what has overconfidence got to do with savings? Why even look at this, isn't it? The reason they look at it is because when you're overconfident, you might save less. Makes sense or not? Does it make sense? Why?
Makes sense.
Why does it make sense?
Because we believe that we can still make money. That's why we...
Cool. That's one way.
I mean, we can make back if we don't save so much also, it's okay because
I see.
we have the ability to
Make money.
still make money.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So same as what Penny said lah. Kaho, do you have any views? Why?
It's the same.
Same view. Okay. The way they explain it in the paper is that when you're overconfident, you feel like nothing will happen to you in retirement. There won't be a need to use emergency. There won't be a need to have emergency savings. And you have confidence that I have enough savings already lah. Yeah. So to test this, it will be interesting to see, does it mean that, okay, 45 to 54 years old, you have highest level of overconfidence. Does it mean this group has the lowest amount of savings?
Looks like it.
Yeah. I mean, if you want to test the hypothesis, that's how you will see, right? Okay, now take a look. It's a very busy graph lah.
Yeah.
But essentially, they ask you, okay, the question they ask is, how much savings do you have right now? And the choice, multiple choice, you have less than 2,000, between 2 to 10,000, 10 to 20, 20 to 50, 50 to 100 and above 100. Now, I give you a couple of seconds to look whether, based on the responses to this question by age group, above 55 all the way to 18 to 24, give you a minute, take a look, reflect. Do you agree with the conclusion by the paper? The paper actually said there's no major difference in the amount of savings among all the age group. So take a look. I'll give you a minute to look because, like I said, it's a very busy graph.
Yeah, it's very noisy.
Yeah. So I'll give you a bit of time. Let me know if you are already done and you have a view already.
I may be biased also.
Okay, I'll be interested to hear. So, done. Penny? Done. Sion? More or less, huh? Okay. Right. So, what do you think? Do you agree with the conclusion that there is no major difference between the age groups? Anyone wants to go first?
No major differences in level of emergency savings.
Correct.
My only thing is all the age group, yeah, above the 25 it looks almost doesn't look like any major difference, but the 18 that just by looking at the graph, that looks much less already. This part, yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, if you just the other glance of the other age categories, it doesn't. There's
No big variations.
If they want to conclude, no major difference.
So for the lowest one, yes. But among the 1, 2, 3, 4, no major difference. Okay. Fair point. Penny?
Yeah, there's no significant increase in terms of the accumulation. Like you can see, I'm just looking at the 100,000 and above. So as you can see, from 18 to 55 and above, 6% to 15%. So meaning to say, not many people fall into that.
I see.
So it's like not much, unless you say, we can see there is 50% and less than 10%, then we can see.
The big difference.
Really a lot of people when they are getting into that age, then they have significant more.
6 15, also not much difference.
Yeah.
How do you see that? What do you mean?
The last one, the 6% and
15%, more than 100,000 versus the 15%.
compared to that. It's
You
not
think not much difference.
Not much difference, but if we say, that's why I agree with the conclusion, there's not much.
Not much difference.
differences. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Fair
that's
point.
how you see it now.
How do you see it, Carl?
I see it differently. I actually disagree.
Okay. Why?
Obviously, we look at the high and the low, right? Let's say you look at the highest saver, 100,000, the green line, and the lowest saver is the brown line. For each of the age actually is increasing in proportion. For the green line, it's increasing in proportion.
So you look at green and grey, is it?
No, you look at the green and this one, the highest.
Oh, there. Okay. Yeah.
It's very noisy, my side.
Yeah. Yes.
Then I will see there's a pattern for those people cannot save is more apparent here
Yep.
than here.
Yep.
Then in comparison, then the highest
one.
also happens to be
Yep.
this, and then this is the lowest. So it's quite consistent with the. That's why I say I may have a bias because I think it's quite consistent with the graph that I showed earlier.
Which one?
The whole confidence.
How is it consistent?
How is it consistent? In terms of the underconfidence of it.
Okay.
But it's I would say like it's skewed in such a way that you either have a lot of money. I noticed this theory, I noticed this observation that the one that have the most money and the least money have the same state of mind. In a sense that
Really?
if they're depressed, then they're depressed. If they're confident,
I see.
because to them it's like the money is not the indicator here. Money is not the factor that
Affects their happiness.
yeah.
Oh, interesting.
I noticed the conversation that I have with these people.
So the one that are very, very poor and the one that are very, very rich, they feel the same way.
Yeah. If they feel emptiness, they will also feel empty because it's maybe a different aspect of their life that
They are different
not
extremes.
happy, but if they feel happy, then it's not money doesn't influence them at the point.
I see. Interesting. Is it that they are empty for different reason?
Yeah. I noticed this conversation, this pattern.
Okay.
But in between, right, they're too busy to notice.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. To me, I actually have the same view as what Kaho just mentioned. I looked at the lowest bar and I looked at the top two bars also, because it's too busy. So I didn't compare every single bar. So when you look at the bottom one, you could see that this one no savings lah. Essentially, the grey bar means you have less than 2K. So from 43 to 13 for me is quite a big difference. The green one, okay lah, 6 to 15, there's a difference, not a big difference. But when you look at, I think, the second bar from 4 to 10, okay lah, not big. Maybe this one lah, the yellow one lah. I think yellow one is what, 20,000 lah, 20 to 50 lah. Yeah, 5 to 24. Yeah, so they're quite big lah. So to me, there is a difference, and it contradicts what PIDM's theory is lah. I mean, because their theory is the more you are overconfident, the less your savings. But this one, they still save. They still save more.
In fact, they save more.
Yeah, exactly.
The age group as they are
Correct. Correct. So
they shouldn't measure savings. They shouldn't measure savings in total. They should measure
how much they save every month
individually without EPF. Then that makes sense. Because in the country, majority are already defaulted with
EPF. This one I don't know. I think maybe this one doesn't include EPF because it's emergency saving. EPF is not an emergency saving. You cannot tap on it for emergency. I mean, COVID is a very special case lah. But normally they don't allow you to simply withdraw ma. I think this is most likely referring to what they have in their bank account. Yeah. So in that sense, that's why I can understand why not many people are in the green bar, because green bar is a lot lah. So I think the highest one among the people who are retiring, what's this one? Oh my gosh, 2 to 10. Okay, yeah, this one okay lah. This one at least not so bad lah. 20 to 50K.
5 to 6% of those people there have 100,000 above in 1824. Right?
Intriguing, right?
It's quite consistent with the EPF numbers. Recently they announced
Oh.
out of all the people who have 1 million in their EPF account,
Okay.
there was 1 or 2 in the
category.
age
Oh.
category.
Wow. How? Unless they.
Somebody pump for them.
Yeah. So voluntary contribution instead of accumulating.
Contribution, you can only contribute 60,000 a year.
Yeah, is there
Wow.
cap, right? No matter what.
How much again? The amount is. Yeah, no, but.
Right?
Yeah.
I got excess savings. I want to contribute because I don't know where to put money. I'll just put in the EPF because 5 or 6%. So I can put it for my kids. So technically I can put 60,000 a year max for each kid.
Yep. Wow. Intriguing. And you're saying that the group ends up having a savings level of how much? The highest level one is how much? Is it in the millions?
No, the graph is talking about the people who have a billion in their.
A million. Damn.
So you're wondering how they can get it at a young age.
Yeah.
Their salary must be very high.
And that's very intriguing.
Yeah.
I'm also wanting to understand what they do.
Yeah. This survey didn't go that deep, but it is intriguing, isn't it? This is the last one for PIDM. So after knowing this knowledge, it's important to then, okay, so what? How do we use this knowledge to encourage Malaysians to save? Especially after COVID, where I think people deplete their savings to maintain their lifestyle during COVID. So now, as the economy recovers, how do you rebuild your buffers? So based on the 3 findings, how do you use it to recommend some policies? How do we actually help people? So with present bias, how do you counter it, right? One way is to set goals, because otherwise you focus only on today. So you need to bring future to the present. How do you do that? Set goals, visualize the future. Michael, close your eyes and imagine.
Recommendation sounds very fluffy.
Oh, it does,
No, I mean as an institution, I think needs to be more.
Meat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. There is some that.
I mean, automate savings is a very good initiative. So all these things is something you can relate to or you can physically see.
Yep.
But psycho visualization just sounds more educational, more like awareness.
Correct. Yeah, actually some of it feels very broad, very educational. Not all of it is very practical. But I mean, unless these solutions are taken up by financial education firms, so that whenever there's a seminar or whatnot, this is embedded into one of the syllabus, which is to have a goal setting activity. That's the only way it can become practical. Otherwise, when the solution is stated here, it sounds very broad, it sounds very motherhood. I would say this one, right? Automate savings, save the change. My first question is, it still sounds motherhood. Like, how do you do it? Does any bank?
There's an app now, does it?
Oh, apparently in the paper they actually mentioned Maybank actually has it. Save the change app. I was like, oh, how does it work? Have you tried it?
I think it's Rise, if I'm not mistaken. One of the apps that whenever you expend change, you can just put it into the app and then they will just accumulate. You know how you put like those 50-cent coin into a box, then you don't work it. Over time, if you put it in the app, then basically it grows because there's some churn or some interest on the time.
So is it like an e-wallet? Do I have to manually?
Yeah. There is still a need to do it.
Then it's a bit not automated.
That's why the automation is a very good thing because automation, in our classes we also teach about automation that helps to take away all the manual
work.
Yeah. Because when you don't automate things, you basically have to instill that manual habit, which is the hardest thing to do.
Yeah. So I think if you're able to do that, then that'll be best. Maybe it's connected to your credit card, to your debit card. But if it's an app that is not linked to our, at the very least linked to our e-wallet. But otherwise, you have to manually put in like.
I think to be frank, I haven't really used the app before. I just know that there's a function that does it. But you think maybe they do link to an account or something.
I see. Okay. Oh, you need Zhao?
Yeah.
Okay. Can, no problem. No problem. But thank you for coming.
No problem.
Glad having you.
I visit a friend in hospital.
What happened to your friend?
Huh?
What happened to your friend?
Her hand broken.
Aiyo. Okay.
No. It's
No,
not suddenly one. It's just
happened before.
She transferred from Kuching Hospital
Okay.
to HSC. So I promised her that I'm going to see her at 4.
Okay.
So,
Oh, nice to meet you, buddy.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Nice to meet you. Keep in touch.
Thank you.
Yeah, so those are some suggested solutions for both 1 and 3. For number 2, in terms of overconfidence, how to make people feel more in touch with reality is provide feedback, like send a reminder, check your bank account, really see how much balance do you have. Quizzes to check your knowledge. Are you really that good, as good as you think you are? Communicate social norm, communicate what others say. Yeah, so these are some of the recommendations that they've given. I mean, I guess in a research paper, especially when you JV with international organizations, sometimes they don't go very, very deep. It's just they provide a broad framework. So it's up to us to then take it and design something out of it. Design a product.
I'm glad you shared this finding also because when I read the paper also I couldn't really understand like the overconfident part and then the saving part before. I couldn't understand the context of it.
So that, as what you said, sometimes different people, we could be watching the same movie, but very different interpretation. Yeah. So that's a little bit of findings from PIDM. The next study is Macau scam. So this is the research I did during my master's. Bank Negara goes quite big in scam awareness. And you heard of Macau scam, right? Do you all know what Macau scam is? No? Do you know?
Yeah, I heard of Macau scam.
Yeah. So they call pretending to be from the authority. They will ask you to either transfer or to share your banking details with them. Yeah. Okay. Then in the end, they siphon out all your money. So that is phone scam / Macau scam. So
But they purposely make a name, is it? Actually, I don't know. Is it because it started from...
yeah, I think the operation began from there. So the syndicate began from there. That's why it got the name. But nowadays, it's not just from Macau. Some of it operate from Malaysia also. From China also. Yeah, from Cambodia also. From Thailand also. We've heard. Correct. There are sometimes they don't have Malaysian accent when they speak. Yeah. So the aim of this study, I was asking 3 questions. Number 1, after all the campaign, all the awareness, why people still falling for phone scams? Number 1. Number 2, it begs the question: is the awareness campaign really working? I mean, if we do so much, people still fall. Have we ever asked ourselves? Have we tested before? Is it really working? So that's why I want to take this opportunity, since I have some time as a student, right, and I need to pick a topic, so that's why I chose this. And then the third way is, if let's say this is not effective, is there a way we can use behavioral science? We can incorporate some element of behavioral science to make the campaign more effective. Because sometimes when we are not panicked, when we are chill, cool, we know, we hear the phone call, PIDM, LHDN, but when you're panicked, whatever rationality you have, throw out of the window. So is there a way we can design an intervention that sticks, that go in so strong, that sticks so strong until even when we are panicked, we can recall, oh, this like something's not right. So can we design something so strong? Because otherwise, right, your normal campaign, I think when they're panicked, they forget already. Yeah, so these are the 3 questions that I was asking. The findings, there's a good and bad to it. So the bad news is the awareness didn't work. So just showing people, giving information, showing poster that I showed you just now, didn't change anything. It didn't make them less vulnerable to scams. And then, so it simply means that people already know the information. It's just that when they're panicked, then totally forget everything. So the question is, how can we make them less panicked when it happens one day? So I'm thinking the second thing is, maybe the awareness campaign should focus on maybe a simulation exercise, instead of just showing them information, like a simulation exercise where they get a feel of how the call sounds like, so that when the call actually happens, you're not so scared. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's like in therapy, if you say you got phobia on cockroach, or you got phobia on urine, some people got phobia on urine. So then they to make you less phobia, they expose you to the urine. And so it's a repeat process to desensitize you from it. And they do it from 2 ways. Number 1, they ask you to visualize the urine, or they actually ask you to touch. Same thing with cockroach. I mean, it's a bit scary, but essentially the idea is you expose whatever you are afraid of, you expose yourself more to it so that you're not so scared the next time. So I'm thinking that's one of the conclusions that in my paper. Then the third one is I discovered, as I mentioned just now, students actually, they are more vulnerable to the phone scam. I'll show you some data afterwards. And then some past victims who kena phone scam before, there's actually some evidence of phobia. They feel like, oh my gosh, I'm going to become a victim again in the future. Yeah, so there's some evidence of that phobia. So just to, I think I'll skip straight to this one. So to test, what I did was, I come up with different version of the poster. I basically take Bank Negara's poster so what do they normally put in? Never share your account information or pin or tick. Like, so what not to do and what to do. Like, always check with your bank every time you feel suspicious about something. So I mirror the Bank Negara poster, and I have 4 different versions. Number 1, informational, and then the other 3 is something that has more emotional element to it, to see whether with these pictures, with this emotion, will they be able to remember it better? So you will see that this one got no picture, only information, data, sentences, headlines. The rest, not so many words, got picture, got emotion, got negative emotion like fear, got positive emotion like compassionate, right? So protect yourself, protect others. Shock is neither positive or negative, it's a neutral emotion, but it's based on literature, they found that shock can actually be quite effective because number 1, it attracts your attention, and number 2, you are more likely to remember it because it attracts your attention, so you're more likely to remember it compared to even fearful. Yeah. So it's an online study, almost 500 Malaysians.
We get
Actually, online, I was circulating to friends and families, my colleagues. I had a colleague in Bank Negara who is in charge of financial scam, financial awareness. So she helped to blast out in Bank Negara's office all over the country, in Bank Negara's Facebook page. Thanks to her, I managed to get quite a bit. And it's quite nationally representative in terms of it follows the median age of the country. The gender the gender segregation quite like the country also. Not bad like in all regions of the country, including Sabah, Sarawak. The ethnicity, not bad also, I would say. Majority are Bumiputra, and then Chinese, how many? Chinese 38%. The actual in the population is 22%. Okay, not too bad. It's just that a lot of my people graduates, 80% graduates. Among the almost 500 people, 80% graduates, whereas in the actual population, 20% graduates.
Oh, that's how you read it.
Yeah. So this is the study one, this is the actual population. Then from here, the median income of my sample size is between 4,000 to 5,000 a month. In Malaysia, what is the, test yourself, anyway the answer is here already. So the median income in Malaysia is 2,100. Yeah. So I guess my sample size is a bit more educated, a bit more higher income. So maybe that explains what the...
You say you also interview students, right?
Yes.
That means students don't earn what?
Don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
So it could be higher if you take out the students
Correct.
who are earning, right?
Correct. Yeah, could be higher. So the way the experiment goes is I show them the poster first, so you see the poster, and then I will distract you by making you do some some memorization tasks, just to take your mind away from this, and then I'll test you. I'll test you whether when I let you listen to some phone conversation, all right, between somebody and the bank, and I'll let you judge. Do you think this is a scam call, or do you think this is a genuine call? And then after that, I will collect some information from you. I'll collect your, I don't ask for names, I ask for the gender, where do you stay, are you working or not, how much income and all that. The reason why I distract them is because in real life, that's how it is, right? I mean, you don't see a poster of Macau scam and straight away the scam call you, is it? In real life, you will see a poster, you will live your life. You'll go out there and do your thing, right? And then one fine day, suddenly the call come in, right? So this is to mirror reality, lah. Yeah. So that's all that there is.
Yeah, I think I participated.
How do you feel? Okay, I think you got it most right, most likely, is it?
Yeah, so I was just curious to see
the findings, right? Okay, now he knows how the phone call sounds like. Now you haven't. I'll let you hear what it sounds like.
Hello, boleh cakap dengan Cik Aisyah?
Ya, siapa ni?
Ya, saya Cik Afiq dari Maybank. Cik bayaran kad kredit berjumlah RM8,312.
Ya, tapi saya baru je bayar bil kad kredit baru-baru ni.
Saya akan sambungkan talian kepada Bank Negara Malaysia supaya Cik boleh lancarkan dengan pegawai yang berkuasa.
Okey.
Sebentar. Hello Cik, saya Cik Rashid dari Bank Negara Malaysia.
Ya, Cik Rashid.
Ya, mengikut rekod kami, Cik memang ada letak kad kredit yang tak berbayar. Kami boleh tolong selesaikan masalah ini, tapi kami perlukan maklumat akaun Cik terlebih dahulu.
Oh, ya.
Ya, jadi sebentar nanti Cik satu kod 6 digit melalui SMS. Cik dapat tak?
Ya dapat.
Okey, Cik boleh tolong bacakan.
So this is a sample. I show them. I let them listen to 7 of such conversation. So I would ask them. So do you think? So if you are the recipient of this call, do you think this is genuine or do you think this is a scam? And out of the 7 calls, there are 4 calls that are scam, and then 3 is actually genuine. So they will listen to a mixture. Some, like just now, they connect from an operator, from bank, they connect to Bank Negara. So I call it a 2-person call. And then some is a robocall. Have you heard of it? Ini panggilan dari LHDN. Anda mempunyai, sila tekan kosong untuk bercakap dengan. So that is also a scam call, but it's a different type. It's a robocall. So it's a mixture. Some pretend to be a bank, some collaboration like just now, Central Commercial Bank first, and then Bank Negara. Some pretend to be the police. This one also pass one to each other. Start with Post Malaysia, and then they pass on to police. The genuine one is all between banks and customers. So I measure 3 things. Number 1, I measure their judgment correct or not. So I ask, do you think this is genuine or a scam? So if they score correct, that means if they score 100 means they got all the 7 correct lah. Then number 2, apart from just testing, I want to know how confident are they on their answer, on this answer. Because I want to know, do you get it right by chance? You're just lucky. No, because you get 50% chance, like you take gamble, right? You have 50% chance of getting it right. So I want to have a bit of skill, like you confident or not actually, or you tembak only. So that's why I ask how confident they are. So if they are very confident and they score very well, I take it that you know what you're doing. You're not lucky. You're not just lucky. And then the third one is the perceived effectiveness. So do they think, after seeing the poster, I ask them all these questions. Did it get your attention? Do you think it's convincing? Did it make you feel more confident to deal with this in the future? And if you have a friend who gets such a call next time, do you think this poster will help? Yeah. So this is perceived effectiveness. I also measure their emotion because it's an emotional study, right? So I want to know whether the different poster, the fear, shock, information, compassion, did it invoke the right type of emotion? So for example, if it's fear, did they actually feel fearful or did they feel stressed? So I actually measure their emotion. Of course it's online, so I cannot put a device in Kaho's brain and measure. I cannot. It's all self-rating. So I actually ask them, after looking at the poster, do you feel fearful? Do you feel stressed? A rating of 1 to 4. So 0 means not at all, I don't feel fearful, or very, very much, very extreme. Right? Not at all, slightly, moderately, extremely, something like that. Yeah, so a scale of 0 to 4. This is the finding. So overall, people score very, very well, and they also feel very confident about their judgment. So out of 7 questions, they get on average 6.4 right. If you convert it to a percentage, basically they get the 92% very good. A. Are they confident? Out of scale of 1 to 4, 3.8. Wow. Very confident. Effectiveness out of scale of 1 to 4, 2.8. Okay, moderate, I would say.
But like what you say, these are all under normal environment, composed environment.
Composed environment, yeah, graduate and composed environment. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, in real life, that's the thing. So I don't know. It's interesting if you can do it in a field study. So this is a lab study, right? It's online. Imagine if I can really one day have access to your phone, I can prank call you. Actually, pranking people, right? I can really call you when you least expect it. How would it be? Got people do such experiment before?
I have a friend who loves to do it. After getting a few times of it, I mean, he also sharpens.
Yes, yeah. That's the idea.
That's the idea, sharpens.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting to do something like that in Malaysia. I think in the US or what, they conducted something like on the ground one. It got backlash from the student. They did it at a uni. Then they thought, wow, it's a breach of confidentiality. Oh, you play me. You play me. So in the end, a lot of people wrote complaint letter to the university management to complain about the study. Kesian lah. But for us, we were like, wow, this is so interesting. Right, so I don't know, but in the end, you're right. I mean, it would be very interesting to, on the ground study, field study. That's the most exciting one, right? Like the JPJ one, I consider that a field study. It's not theoretical. It's not theoretical. But this is as close as I could get. I mean, I was in UK at the time. And I wanted to do something that's still Malaysian based. So it was all done online. And I found out that, I won't bore you with the numbers, but essentially what this means is confidence can predict your score. So the more confident you are, the better you score, actually, in the experiment.
Number one thing they do when they're starting a call is to paint fear.
Yeah, sure.
They like throw fear at different sides. They paint the whole environment in like the fear that you're confident, like.
Correct. Yeah, and once you are fearful, that's where they get you lah. Yeah.
So I found that maybe one of the intervention, I mean, looking at what you ask, a very interesting question. I think the biggest intervention is really cutting off the line. Find some way or other to just, because the more you stay online, then the more they will erode
the more likely
confidence, correct?
Yeah.
So it's like So I realized there were few times I cannot also. And I said, oh, never mind, let me call the bank and check. Then I just put out the phone. So
Nice.
that one also could be a potential intervention.
Yep.
Because then you are not relying them to feed you the information which you also cannot verify.
True. Now it's about testing to what extent will this work. Because
I think when you're in that fear, right, you don't even you don't have that thing cross your mind, right?
Yes.
You put down the phone.
This suggestion has come out before. I think during our interview in FB Live and all that. Not just us lah, but other people out there also say, letak je telefon tu, cancel je, just hang up. So it sounds very simple, right? When you are not panicked. But somehow, I don't know whether...
So I think this, right? This is the same field of study that, I remember the day I was asking you this question over dinner that we were saying like, how do we gamify that so that we can actually identify people? And we realized there is always this fight or flight mode.
Response.
And then we realized there's a third response which is called freeze.
Yes.
So I realized I think those people who normally kena one is those that are frozen. That means the act of putting down is also very scary for them.
So they continue listening.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the fight and flight one normally is okay lah, simple lah, because the flight will just close. Fight will just continue arguing with them or some shit like that. So that's why I felt like this is a very interesting subject because you're talking about behavioral science, right? It relates to, like, we always try to understand why you say like everybody knows it already, but why do people still fall?
Why still kena? Yeah.
So I think a lot of it stems from that the 3,000-year-old brain we're wired. They know it already and hence that's why they're taking advantage of that right? The wiring of the brain part.
The fear, the lizard brain.
Yeah. What's that word? The thinking brain, and then the other one is called
the flight or fright.
The hunting brain.
The hunting brain, is it? I think it is the hunting brain.
The beast side of the human being. You know when you're not thinking?
Yeah. There are a few names to it. I think one of it is the lizard brain or the reptilian brain, I think. So yeah, that's one of it. I will focus on the two groups that I said is vulnerable just now. Number one is student, number two is past victim. So interestingly for student, even though they are more tech savvy, we expect them to be able to detect all these phone scams better, but no, they actually scored worse. So student, out of 100%, 85. This is employees, people who work, 90, 93. So you can see the difference. Then number two, when you ask them, are they confident about their answer? Same thing. Out of 1 to 4, they score 3.6, student 3.6, and then employee 3.8. And why this is the case? Maybe because they overall have less awareness and less experience when it comes to Macau scam. So even though they maybe have a lot of experience online, but specifically for the scam, maybe not. So this, during the survey, I actually asked them, number one, before this study, were you aware of Macau scam? And they're supposed to say not at all, slightly, moderately, very. Yeah. So you can see the score, student is 3. Out of scale of 1 to 4, student is 3, employee is 3.5. So they're not as high an awareness about Macau scam. Number two, do you know someone who has been a Macau scam victim before? Maybe your family member, your friends. Because if you know, then you have higher awareness, right? Again, lower score. Then the third one is when they were listening to the calls, right, the audios. I asked them, I measure their emotion. So they have actually a higher level of fear. I said, do you feel fearful? Not at all, slightly, moderately, very. So based on that, the score is higher for students. So perhaps it's an awareness issue. So that's why when I share these findings with my colleagues, you don't ignore students. Yeah. Next one is the past victims. No, actually the past victims, they didn't score worse than the non-victims. No, they score actually equally good. But yet they feel like they are more bound to be victims again. So in the survey, I actually asked them, do you think you would fall for Macau scam in the future? Right? I want to see how are they feel fearful or not for the future. So for victims, 46% of them say yes. But for non-victims, it's 11%. So you can see it's 4 times higher. So they are 4 times more likely to think that they're going to be victims, even though they have been a victim before. And you would think that because they were victims before, shouldn't their awareness, correct, should be less prone? They should have higher awareness of Macau scam. But look at that. I asked them before this study, were you aware of Macau scam? Their awareness rating, same, no difference.
I think if a chance to redo the whole study again, maybe we can add in the element of the social skill and whether they are introvert or extrovert. Because the feeling, like what I'm seeing in the pattern, right, looks like somebody who is very disconnected from society, especially somebody who is like an introvert. Because you got nobody to refer to if there's any problem.
Possible.
Right? So I'm just getting that feel from the pattern and the numbers that I'm seeing.
I see. I'll show you one more and see whether that changed the way you feel.
Yeah.
So I realized that past victims, they have larger swings in their emotion, whether it's positive or negative emotion. So how do I know that? It's because when you look at the emotional ratings of past victims, you look at shock, fearful, stress, these are negative emotion. Their ratings are higher than the non-victims. Similarly, even positive emotion like alert or the feeling of being educated, the feeling of compassionate, no difference, are about the same. But alert and educated also, the past victims rated it higher compared to non-victims. So to me, I guess they could be an introvert who have very large swings in their emotion, like mood swings. You can be very, very happy, you can be very, very sad. So that makes you a very delicious target for scams, because they can very easily do something, then you
push your hot button.
Very easy to push your button. So very interesting. I mean, bigger swings. I think these findings sort of make sense. It just confirms it. Like you now have the data to say, past victims maybe need to. I don't know how to help them. Maybe therapy, to at least let them talk about their emotions, so that they can maintain or regulate their emotions better. Yeah. Because if you think of Yim, you found this, then so what? How can we help? What can we do? So maybe at least therapy. So like if someone walks to Bank Negara and say, I've been a past victim before, at least you refer them to a therapy session, or if they need to talk about it. Yep, so just repeating the conclusion again. So just to end, just share with you a couple of frameworks that you can essentially take back to use in order to repeat some of these interesting findings. So first, what makes a good nudge? What are the principles of a good nudge? Remember this word feast. So number one, they have to be fun. Remember the elevator experience, and the more fun it is, the more easy it gets people's attention. Number two, easy. E stands for easy, A for attractive, S for social, T for timely. So the E for easy means you want someone to do something, you make it as easy as possible to do it, right? You want people to pay cashless, or you have 8 out of 9 counters that only cashless. That is the. You want people to come to your house, you put a red carpet. Basically, make it as easy as possible. You want people to sign up for your course, you fill in the form for them. The insurance, you fill in the form for them, right? Yeah.
Now it's such that, because everything is, we can do it remotely. So nowadays, they have to they give us everything. We send like fill in the blanks, the name, everything. Then they just send it back to us, but we are going to key everything in the system. So when they receive the one that they actually needs to sign
very little need anything.
Because everything is pre-filled.
Yes.
We already filled that part.
Correct.
They only need to look through the signature and the IC.
Make sure the details are correct.
Make sure the details are correct. Whatever they provide to us, and we key correctly.
Correct. And then after that, sign.
And then after that, sign.
Okay. That is this. That's easy.
Yeah. So you say
The next one is attractive. Like I said, everyone wants to attract your attention nowadays, right? So the more attractive your nudge is, the better you are at capturing the attention. So usage of color or characters, cartoon, catchy music, S is social, that one no need to say. I mean, make it like use social norm, tell your target group what other people are doing. Yep, so that's social. Timely. This is when do you nudge, right? Where is the right time to nudge? That is the timeliness aspect of it. So the idea is you nudge people right before they decide. So if you want to encourage people, hey, take the stairs, don't take lift, come on, exercise a bit. You nudge them right before, put a notice at the escalator, just right, okay. Take the stairs can save you how many calories or whatever. Yeah, so you nudge them there. Yeah. Or you want to encourage vaccination? Send reminders. Right, send reminder and regular reminder so that remember when they decide. Yeah, the time. So feast, that's the concept for a good nudge. The second one is prime. So if you are the kind of people who like to do research, this can help you provide a framework for you to how to think about something. So if you want to identify barriers and solutions to whatever issue that you want to explore, remember PRIME, P for purpose, R for review, I for intervention, and then measure, expand. So purpose here means you need to define what problem are you trying to solve. So in the JPJ's case, for example, their target is 100% cashless. Right? So make it got number, got target, make sure it's realistic also. Time bound and all that. So the SMART punya principle. So have a goal in mind. And then number 2 is review. Review means that's where you do a bit of behavioral study. Like, why are people not doing the action yet? What's stopping them? So in the case of JPJ, they found that people are not aware this option is available, the cashless, sorry. They also have no motivation. I mean, if I've been paying by cash and it works, why should I rock the boat? And then the third one, then they go into intervention, right? So after knowing what's wrong, then only you can better decide what to do, right? And that's where they decide to, okay, let's convert the majority of our counters into cashless only counter. Then the fourth stage is to measure. So you already have an idea. Wouldn't it be useful to then know, how effective is this measure going to be? So that's the measuring stage. And that's where, as I shared earlier, when they roll out to the pilot run, the 6 JPJ outlets, it went from 30% to 99%. And then they moved to the last phase, expand. So expand means, very good result. So then they expand to other JPJ branches. So this framework prime it gives you a step-by-step what you can do if you want to diagnose barriers or solutions to whatever issue. Like for example, you want to attract talent. Okay, that's your purpose, that's your goal. Review. So why is there an issue? What's stopping them from coming to you right now? So think about that. And then based on that, maybe we can design. Correct.
How to change,
correct.
Why are they so renewed people? Why are they afraid to come to our
correct.
industry?
Correct. Yeah. So this helps to provide a framework to think about it. Because sometimes there's so many interventions, there's so many types of nudges, right? So which one should you use? You can use depending on what the barriers are. Yeah. So it provides a neat framework to think about something. This is the last framework that I want to share with you. It's called Combi. Now, when you want to create a change, you don't want the change to be short-term, right? You want it to be a long-lasting change. So this framework it makes it sustainable because it thinks about a change from a more sustainable way. So it looks at COMB, C for capacity, capability, sorry. O is opportunity. M for motivation. And then the B is actually behavior. Yeah. So what this means is, if you want people to behave in a certain way, you promote a target behavior, right? A preferred behavior. You want to think about all these 3 aspects. Are they capable to do that behavior that you are promoting? Number 2, do they have the motivation to do it? Number 3, do they have the opportunity to do it? And then once you have these 3, then there's a higher chance that they will actually do the behavior. most of the time, we normally focus on these two. Think about it. When you campaign at time, what you give people information so that they have knowledge. Financial education, you give people the right knowledge, the right tools for them to do it. It increases their capability. You motivate them. You must do lah. If you don't do when you owe a time, how? Save for your rainy days. If you don't buy insurance when you accident, how? When you get cancer, who's going to pay for the treatment? That's motivation. Now, opportunity is something that people don't usually think about. Let's say you want to encourage people to eat vegetarian, right? You can tell them, oh, you don't know how to cook vegetarian? I teach you. I give you a recipe. Motivation, if you don't go vegetarian, CO2 emission will be higher and higher. Mother Nature, and then you're killing, please save that. So all this is motivation. But what if this person lives in an environment where there's very little vegetarian restaurant? The existing restaurant that serve meat one, they have very little vegetarian option. You go grocery shopping, there's also not a lot of vegetarian meat, not a lot of variety. So that is opportunity. So sometimes when we think about intervention, I think this model at least make us consider, we should consider more than just giving information and motivation. This one also, we need to think about it. The Japan rubbish bins is another example. If you want to encourage people to throw things in the rubbish bin, right? Make sure you got rubbish bin. Japan is a very unique example where they don't even need rubbish bin. But yeah, so I feel that this is a very unique, it gives you a more comprehensive picture to think about change. I will end with this. Now, because behavioral science is something that has been, over the past 10 years, been applied overseas and whatnot, there are some lessons that we can learn from them, because we just got started, right? So some of the things that we can learn is, the first point I've mentioned before, like, it's not new, it's something that we've done. So don't go in thinking that, wow, is this something really new? No. Supermarkets have done it, casinos have used it. So it's not new, it's just something that other people are also starting to use. So just have the expectation, don't have too high an expectation. Number two, as we discussed before, not everyone is happy to be nudged. If they know that you're trying to control their behavior, some people retaliate. So make sure your heart is in the right place, you're actually trying to help them. That reduces the likelihood of backlash from the public. The third one is, I know I've shown you a lot of good examples, but the examples that I show, you know, when you want to sell a product, you of course sell the best. You use the best example, you use the best case study. But when you do your experiment, sometimes not all the intervention works. That's real life, that's life. In the end, you might find, my intervention didn't work. So don't give up. Bear in mind that when we promote, we tend to highlight the best examples, but it may not reflect the fact that there are also a lot of experiments that fail. So don't give up. Continue trying until something works. I think that's why it's very important for more people to know about this behavioral science knowledge so that they can also experiment. And we can learn from their experience what works. Yeah. The last one is here. Nudge itself is part of the solution, but it's not the only solution. You cannot solve, okay, let's say can you stop someone from smoking by just nudging? Can? Okay. Can you, if let's say you are talking to someone who's very anti-vaccine, do you think you can nudge the person to take vaccine? Just by nudging? All right. Can nudging solve climate change? That's it. So nudging can be part of the solution, but it doesn't mean that other tools that are shown in the spectrum just now, doesn't mean you take away all that, no. It should be a complement. It doesn't replace. So those are the key things that we need to bear in mind. These are some of the, if you want to get a bit more training online, Malaysian Productivity Corporation actually, I'll share the slides with you. Yes. So actually Prime was designed by MPC.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There are other framework called BASIC, BASIC, it works the same way as, but this prime is Malaysia, Buatan Malaysia. Basic one is done by overseas. So this is the website. I'll share the slides with you afterwards so that you can actually know the sources of the information, the link. Yeah, so that you can, if you want, you can actually take all this training. They give you a certificate. But you'll find that a lot of it I've covered. So yeah, Q&A if you have any questions. I know throughout we have been also going back and forth. Yeah. So if do you have any other question before we end? Questions or comments so far? So from early on, we covered the theory and then we moved to the practical. So the biases, the heuristics, what system 1, system 2, prospect theory, all the different type of nudges, right? The Malaysian-based studies, you know, our savings behavior, scams, the 3 frameworks. So, yeah.
I think overall we cover a lot of things.
Mm.
It's like
Very wide.
Mm.
Wide also, actually.
definitely learn a lot. And also my thinking is like, what's the next step like? You implement some of this
Yeah.
into
Yeah. Correct.
What we are doing.
Result.
Yes. Yes.
It's always that part.
Mm.
You realize
So what? Yeah.
all this, that
Correct.
is, you have to choose one or two. I think every time there's so much, because there's so many aspects to look
Yep.
at. You got to pick one or two and really implement it down. Can't like apply everything at one go.
True.
Right?
True. It has to be targeted to what problem you're trying to solve. Yeah. So that's why I feel that the 3 frameworks is a very neat way. You can use either one of them, or even use a combination of some of them to see whether you can find, number 1, what's the barrier, and then number 2, remove the barrier using some behavioral intervention. Yeah. So with that, I would conclude here by saying that, I think behavioral science can help us solve all problems in new ways. I think in life we always look for inspiration, right? A new way of doing things, a new way of looking at things. And I think behavioral science can help us in both that way. Like nudge can be used as a new tool. Behavioral science studies can be used as a new lens, a new way of looking at things. So, yeah. So take these tools, go back and apply it in whichever way you can. So the feast, the prime, the combi models. At least you can identify barriers. Not just barriers, but various vulnerable groups, right? Who's the one that you should target the most? Yeah, like just now with savings and insurance, we realized that it's the one that's lowest income. That's the one that has the highest barriers, so we should target them. For scams, is the students, past victims, sort of thing. Yeah, so they can help to, and of course solutions as well. That's about it. Mandated by HRDF to at least get some feedback from participants. A lot of it is multiple choice questions. I might need your help, Kaho, to circulate it to Penny also after this. The same link can pass to her so that she can, I'll give you guys a few minutes.